Hey, what's going on? Luke here, and for today's video, as you can tell by the title, I'm going to be talking about why the Melbourne Storm need Reece Walsh in 2022. Now, this feels like something that a couple of weeks ago I would have looked at this and went, no chance, like no way, it doesn't make sense for anybody involved. Why would the Warriors let him go? Why would the Storm need him in the first place? But everything changed when Ryan Papenhuyzen went down, and then they came out and they announced that Reece Walsh was going to be on the bench for the Warriors, Chanel Harris-Tavita taking his place in the starting lineup. Very, very strange stuff considering he's what I would consider the marquee man. I mean, last year he was in the State of Origin squad. I know he didn't end up playing, but the kid has talent. He signed with the Broncos, and I think most of it comes down to that. I think there's something fishy sort of happened there, I have a feeling. But look, I think things aren't exactly rosy at the Warriors right now. They're not performing very well. I know they went back to New Zealand, but just the whole Reece Walsh situation at the moment, to me, I find very, very weird. If you've got your players, you've got your best players there, you play them, especially in the Warriors' circumstances where they're not winning very often. So you've got to play him. Why pick him on the bench? Like, what are you going to do coming off the bench? Now, they've tried different halves pairings, they've tried different fullbacks. Reece Walsh is probably the best player you got in that whole side, and they're picking him off the bench. It seems crazy to me, and I feel like there's probably going to be some Warriors fans who are going to, comment and be like, well, he hasn't done this and he hasn't done that. Yes, he's got a few errors in him. He is young, he is developing, but this Warriors side, like, it's not a star-studded side. And you do have a star in Reece Walsh, as to why the Broncos went so hard after him again, after letting him go in the first place. So, look, great pickup for the Broncos. Just want to mention that, because I don't think I've actually done a video talking about that part. But in terms of this video, we're talking about why he's a perfect fit for the Melbourne Storm. And it works for both Reece Walsh and it works for the Melbourne Storm. Does it work for the Warriors, though? I don't know. I don't really know. You do get him off the books. You get a player who potentially isn't happy at the club. But we don't know. Is he unhappy? I don't know. I mean, he signed with the Broncos, but I think it was it compassionate ground? Something along the lines of that. I can't really remember the exact details, but he wouldn't be the first player who's left the Warriors early. So, look, Reece Walsh going to the Storm, I think it is a possibility. That's what I just want to get out off the bat. Like, we're talking hypotheticals here because everyone has to agree to it. Storm have to have the salary cap space. And, Reece Walsh has to want to go there. The Warriors have to, want to let it happen. But in terms of the Melbourne Storm right now, they are slipping very, very quickly. And I know at the time of recording this one, they're about to take on the Rabbitohs. So, I mean, they could come out and absolutely blitz the Rabbitohs, or they could come out and get absolutely blitzed by Latrell Mitchell and Cody Walker, Damien Cook. It's a big possibility of it happening. Rabbitohs have finally found some form. Storm, not so much. Storm have been really, really struggling over the last couple of months. Although they find themselves in a pretty decent spot on the table, but at times at the start of the season, we were sort of looking at them and Penrith and going, they're the two sides that are definitely going to meet in the grand final based off the form, and form's gone. Form is definitely gone out the window, and it's not even due to like a lot of off-field things or anything like that. They can't really just keep a team on the park. There's always someone injured, whether it's, Papenhuyzen is injured all the time. That goes back to last year as well. Brandon Smith's been suspended, he's been out. Harry Grant's been injured. Jerome Hughes has been out. Cameron Munster's been out. They've never really played with their full-strength side very often. And at the moment, they're never going to play with their full-strength side because Papenhuyzen is out for the season. So the injury that he got, as soon as I saw it happen, I was like, oh, that does not look good. Especially, like, he tried to get up and step on it. So when he got up and then he took, he didn't even take a step, he just stood up and then he went straight back down. I was like, all right, he's done. He is so done. And I think that is a big worry long-term for the Storm because they let Nicho Hynes go. And, in the past, they've been able to slot in guys in at fullback, whether it was Papenhuyzen, whether it was Nicho Hynes to replace, your Billy Slaters and, replace Little Puppy. But they don't really have that at the moment. This is the first time in quite a while that they don't have a ready-made replacement. I know these guys weren't exactly ready-made when they first came into grade, but this isn't a case like Nick Meaney. Nick Meaney, love Nick Meaney. Played at the Bulldogs for many years, loved him. He's got a lot of heart. He is small though. He's kind of, I described him last week as, he's kind of just like the shittier version of Papenhuyzen. I know that's like a backhanded compliment because Papenhuyzen is so good. So, being just a not as good version of Papenhuyzen doesn't mean you're bad, but in terms of them winning a premiership, being a premiership threat, they can't do it with Nick Meaney at the back. I'm sorry. They just can't do it. They can barely do it with Papenhuyzen at the back at the moment. So they need someone strong there. They need someone with a bit of X factor. Nick Meaney is a good fill-in, but for the rest of the season, he's not going to be a fill-in, you know what I mean? Like, we look at Manly, Ruben Garrick has come in. He's been absolutely killing it, but we've seen him for the last couple of years be very, very good on the wing, and he's filled in at times, and he's looked very strong there as well. So him coming in at fullback, it is a bit of a surprise, but he does have, he's got all the physical attributes to be a good fullback, and he's really stepped up. Whereas Nick Meaney, you look at him, he is quite small, and he has played fullback a little bit at the Storm and hasn't really impressed me. Like I said, he's been decent, but in terms of taking on these big sides, I just can't see the Storm competing with Nick Meaney at fullback. Whether that means they move Cameron Munster to the fullback and they chuck someone else, but even then, they don't really have anyone else. Like, are they going to chuck Cooper Johns in the halves? He hasn't really, excelled too much in first grade. They don't have ready-made replacements like they had it in the past in like a Nico Hines. So creates a big problem for the Storm in terms of them trying to win a premiership. Got a whole bunch of players leaving at the end of this year too. I mentioned Brandon Smith, got the Bromwich boys going, Felice Kafusi. This is not a last hurrah for the Storm, but I think it's going to be quite interesting going forward, especially if Papenhuyzen doesn't really return. I mean, it was a bad, apparently broken 10 spots, something like that. So this year, I'm not going to say it's the last hurrah, but I think you do what you do, or you do what you have to do, I should say, and you get Reece Walsh across. A guy who could benefit from going to the Storm system. Everybody who goes to the Storm, they talk about how good the system is. I think Reece Walsh could really benefit from that, especially coming from the Warriors, which is kind of renowned to not have such a great system, which really sucks. You'd think after all these years, Warriors would have figured it out by now. But the Storm, they've got a 10 out of 10, in development, I guess is probably the best way to put it. An absolute weapon of a club, year after year, always up there. Even I'm talking right now, the Storm are on the down four, still in the top four. Still one of the only teams you'd probably look at and be like, they can maybe push Penrith. I don't think they're going to beat them, but they can kind of push them a little bit. But look, you add Reece Walsh into that side, who knows? They might even improve. They might even improve with Reece Walsh in there over Papenhuyzen. Who knows? Reece Walsh is such an unknown. He's got so much X factor about him. Just needs to fine tune some things. But we know he can be upper echelon of fullbacks. Like I said, he got picked for State of Origin last year, and he barely played a first grade game. That's how good the kid is. As to why the Broncos didn't keep him in the first place, I don't know. They got him. They got Selwyn Cobbo. They got a lot of riches in that fullback spot now after years of Osako and Tessie News and all that sort of stuff. But look, Reece Walsh, fantastic player. He can slot into that halves position. So whether you want to play him in the halves or whether you want to play him at fullback, you can sort of move around a couple of players. Cameron Munster, even Jerome Hughes has played fullback. You can move around a couple of players there, and Reece Walsh can also move around a couple of positions. I think it works out very well. And like I said, he just adds another dynamic at the back there. He's got the ball playing. He does sort of everything that Papenhuyzen does. He's got the speed, but he probably adds a little bit more. Maybe in terms of defense and all that sort of stuff, Papenhuyzen has got him covered. Maybe support play and all that. But just in terms of you passing the ball and you're like, oh shit, Reece Walsh has got the ball. I feel like Walsh has got him covered there. So I really think it'd be a really good move for the Storm. Like I said, it's all hypotheticals at the moment. I would love to see it happen personally, just to create a little bit of interest, because I feel like, I'm not going to lie, with how this season's going, Penrith are just too good. Penrith are just too good, man. No one's really going to compete with them at the moment. So, the Storm were the only hope of making it a competitive season. We've seen teams like the Roosters, who are supposed to be up there, just shit the bed completely. Like your Manlys that have been there in the past, like Trbojevic isn't there. All of the big guns that I was expecting to be up there, they're not. And it's been left to a team like the Cowboys, who at the start of the year I thought would not even make the 8. Although Cowboys absolutely killing it at the moment. Broncos are doing well. It's a very different season, but at the end of the day, Penrith are just so much better than everyone. I'm looking for someone to just close the gap a little bit, and I think Reece Walsh can bring that to the Melbourne Storm. And that's just my thoughts. Let me know in the comment section below. What are your thoughts? Do you reckon Reece Walsh would be a good addition to the Storm? I mean, obviously he's going to be a good addition, but do we think it's actually possible? Do we think it can happen? Let me know in the comment section below. Anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap things up here. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy this one. If you did, make sure you go ahead and smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Also, make sure to use the notification bell. Don't rely on sub boxes. Use the notification bell and never miss any of my videos. Also, while you're at it, go ahead and chuck me a follow on social media. It's on the screen right now. It's Mr. Luke and YT for the most part. My Facebook's Mr. Luke, but everything else, including Snapchat, including TikTok, is Mr. Luke. Give me a follow. Give me an ad. You know you want to. But you don't really want to, do you? No, you do. You definitely do. Anyways, become a member of the channel as well. Link is in the description below. Click on it. Got heaps of new members. Shout out to everybody who is a member. If you've been lucky enough to be gifted one from Mac Galaxy or King Aurelius, shout out to you. Shout out to them big time as well, though. So thank you to them. Thank you to everybody who super chatted in the streams. Very much appreciated. Keeping the channel afloat. I will be trying to upload a lot more. It's been struggling a little bit personally, but we're going to be back there. We're going to get back on the grind, and all starts today. So stay tuned for more content on the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. See yous.